So you're making your big directorial debut. Yeah.
I know, why would I do this?
I mean, because you signed on to star in the project.
That's right.
And then you became the director and executive producer. How did all that happen?
I know. I was living a really comfortable life. Why did I do this? Everything was fine.
Yeah.
I was attached to the movie for about 2 years as an actor, and I was just sort of like, well, let me know when it all comes together. And I did find myself becoming a little overly involved with the script. You know, there was that part of me that was like, well, I'm always allowed to give ideas, thoughts, feedback, whatever. But, it's not up to me at the end of the day. And then as things were like really starting to suddenly like pick up steam, there was no director, and we were kind of frantically searching for a director. And I was absolutely horrified to discover that I was like, oh, I think I'm going to pitch myself to direct the movie. Because I had that sense of like, well, if it were my movie, I would make it this way, and I would, and I wouldn't have cut that thing. I would have changed that, and like, knowing maybe I can do that was really scary, but really exciting. And so I gave like probably the most ambivalent pitch in the history of cinema, because I kept saying like, if you guys don't think that I can do it, I shouldn't do it. I just want to do what's right for the movie, which like isn't how people get jobs. But that's like almost how strongly I felt about the material. And then, I think like a couple days later, I was suddenly interviewing casting directors and cinematographers and stuff. So it was, it all happened really quickly, which I think was good, because I didn't have time to panic and back out. It was like, I just have to keep going.
Did you call anybody for advice?
I actually called Paul Feig, who directed A Simple Favor, and Bridesmaids, and many other amazing things. For some reason, he was my first call, which in a sense isn't surprising to me, because I admire him so much as a filmmaker and as a collaborator, and I love how he works. But, a man who is best known for Bridesmaids doesn't seem like the first call for a film like this. But I think, it doesn't really matter what the tone of the movie is. Like, I really wanted kind of, I think I was reaching out for kind of a pep talk. And it was surprising, because I'm sure you've met Paul. He's like the nicest man in Hollywood, and everybody knows that. And it was the first time that he was really giving me like some tough love about how, it's on you now, and the buck stops with you, and like no excuses.
Right.
Which
like,
I was like,
okay. Did you call any other actor directors?
Oh, I had actually been working with Jake Johnson from New Girl at the time, and it was his directorial debut. So he was always like 3 months ahead of me in the process. So I was always calling him, being like, okay, what's the edit like? Like, what should I expect? And like, what's the sound mix like? And then my friend Brittany Snow was also making her directorial debut, and I called her. So it's a very similar situation. I also called her for like a real sweetheart pep talk, and she gave me some like tough love. And and I think she literally just said like, Anna, you're gonna get on set and you're gonna know what to do. And I was like, but where's my 10-minute like like mushy pep talk? But it was almost like she was talking to me the way that I usually talked, and it was kind of like exactly what I needed to hear, which was just like, you need to just like get a good night's sleep and then show up and run on instinct.
What was it about this story that made you want to dive into it? Because I was just talking to Danny, and he said that it is not your traditional serial killer movie. Yeah,
that's true. It really doesn't center what's happening with the killer. Danny, as a performer, I cannot speak highly enough about as a human being and as a performer. And I think it was really generous of him to show up and give a truly like masterclass performance, all while knowing that's not really what people are going to be taking away from the movie, because he's not really the center of the movie or of these scenes. And I think that I was drawn to the way that this script used the kind of backdrop of this serial killer, particularly the fact that he was on a dating show, as a way to explore themes around, the kind of day-to-day survival tactics that women frequently use.
Yeah, your character, too, is an actress, dealing with a lot of rejection, which is a part of the journey. If anybody wanting to pursue a career in the arts,
anyone or anything about that.
Yeah. What was it about her that really captivated you?
To me, I really started to hook into the character when I think that the question that comes up in every scene for her, particularly like in the first act when we're getting to know her, is this like hanging sense of, do you see me as human or do you see me as something else? And there's almost a kind of perverse relief when you get an answer, and that answer might not be a good one, but at least I know now. You know, it's kind of crazy making to be living with that question and not sure if you're just misinterpreting the world. But the world, particularly at that time, although, you know, in many ways still today, is set up in a way that is not supportive of a lot of people, and it felt like a really interesting thematic thing to tease out using the idea of like an imagined week in the life of an aspiring actress in Hollywood in the 70s as she builds up to going on.
Have you felt like that? Have you had your own experience in feeling like that?
Well, actually, there's a scene at the beginning of the movie where I'm in an audition, and I wasn't sure that I was going to keep it in the movie, but I asked the two actors I was like, will you just do this thing where they kind of make specific reference to my body, and that is verbatim something that happened to me when I was 19. So, you know, even though it is set in the 70s, like some of this stuff did happen more recently than we'd maybe like to think.
So you put some stuff in it.
Yeah. There's a bunch of little like Easter eggs of things from my life and career that are in the movie, and that's one of them.